Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our November 13th, 2024 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including whether or not James Gunn has the Superman trailer ready on his computer, ready to go. We're going to be talking about actors ruining costumes when they're auditioning for Superman movies. We've got the latest episode of Superman and Lois, a major plot twist that took place in this latest episode. So much to get through in tonight's show. And joining me, as always, are my two good friends, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Welcome, gentlemen. Michael, Mark, how are we doing?
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Where's Michael? Mark, have you seen him? Who's this guy?
Oh,
there he is.
Who's that? Oh, did you get someone new?
Yeah, I was just going to say, that was bizarre.
A little physical humor.
Yeah. A regular guy. He's just a regular guy.
Very good. Well, so tonight we've got a lot to get through, and we've got many topics, as I just mentioned. But Michael, if we have time, fans can also get involved in tonight's show. How do they go about doing that?
Oh, it's dirt simple. They just have to go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button. And then they'll be put in the green room where they can watch the show and listen to us as we're talking. Or if you want to use your smartphone, you can scan that QR code that is right to the, I guess, right of me as the image shows. On your left side. If you do use the supermanhomepage.com/live option and are listening to us on an external speaker, please mute that when you're getting ready to talk to us, because we are on a bit of a delay because I've got a potty mouth. And if you use the QR code, please use like a headset or AirPods or something, because for whatever reason, when you try to use your speakerphone, it gives us a god-awful click. And it's really annoying.
And if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get on the phone tonight, then feel free to participate in the comments, both there on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram tonight. Michael, Mark, and I can keep an eye on what you're having to say, your comments, your questions, and we'll react to them as the show goes on. But if you're watching via YouTube and you want to have your question or comment featured live on the screen, then that is called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen. You just decide the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go along tonight. There are also super stickers and super thanks if you want to give those a try on YouTube. And if you are watching via Instagram and you're only seeing the middle third of the screen because of the way it's orientated, then please go to supermanhomepage.com/live to get the full screen there tonight. Which is our YouTube feed. So there is the way to make sure you're seeing everything that we're doing tonight. And we want to thank our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray, who have bought us our coffee this week. If you want your name or business featured as a sponsor of this show, simply click the join button below there on YouTube, or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. And thank you for this week's coffee. I've got my Superman mug this week, which I'm drinking out of. So thank you very much to our sponsors and patrons. Gentlemen, what's been happening? Michael, what's been going on in your world this week? You've just kind of told Mark and I that you won't be with us next week because you are working like a dog at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I may be working, but I actually managed to read Absolute Superman over the weekend and really enjoyed it.
Cool.
I was not expecting that. but it was really good. Wasn't really all that hot on the All In special, but only because this is like the 5th time I've read a DC book in the last 10 years where it's like here's where we are. It's a whole new era, and now let's get going. So, but no, the Absolute Superman I recommend wholeheartedly.
Very cool. And Mark, you've been unwell, but hopefully on the recovery.
Yeah, feeling a little better. Going to get some medication. Some prescriptions and
a dose of Superman Homepage Live should have you feeling just.
Oh yes, that it does brighten me up. That's no lie. That's no lie.
All right, so let's get into tonight's topics. We're going to kind of mix things up a little bit this week. We will start with the Superman and Lois discussion because that episode was just too hot for us not to touch on first up. So, Michael, your review, thank you, is up on the website now. You gave this a 5 out of 5, saying it's in like your top 3 Superman and Lois episodes of all time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Flat out. One, as somebody who appreciates a good shirt rip, it was an embarrassment of riches this week, where the entire like first few minutes, even though one of those was a repeat, I'll give it to them. But they kept showing the shirt rip, and then you got the one that you have on the screen right now, later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fantastic episode, and I tried to find some crow to eat on the show, because I was the guy that stopped reading the Bendis run when they revealed the identity, and they did it on this show, and I liked it. So, and I go into that in my review a little more extensively than we have time to go on here. But no, it was more than anything, it was just a really good character study of this version of Clark Kent, and why he chose to reveal his identity in the way that he chose to reveal it. I also have a question for you guys. Do you guys think it's a law, or is it more of just like an unofficial rule that if there is a Jimmy Olsen with Tyler Hoechlin, he has to be taller than Tyler?
That was one of the things with this episode that kind of took me out a little bit. I love this episode like you did, Michael. It had me riveted from beginning to end, and I've been watching this season with my wife, who'd never watched really any of the previous seasons, but she's finding this season really cool and really interesting. And that was one of the things that kind of took me out again. It's like, geez, like, do they have to always find a Jimmy that's so tall? I mean, is it like a law, like you said? Like, and it was, we'd mentioned Janet Olsen, and she's the one who interviewed him here, and it's his sister. So Jimmy's got his sister working with him at the Daily Planet in this version of the story, which is kind of cool. But he towered over Clark and Superman. Like, it was just, he wasn't just a little bit taller. He was massively taller. It was just kind of weird. But just kind of quickly, I'm going to show you the clip in a minute. Was the guy that was like directing the interview did he look familiar? I mean, he looked like the Jimmy Olsen from the Snyder movie. Like, have a look at this. Just first couple of seconds. Is this the same guy, or is it completely different?
We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Is that him?
I don't know.
I will do a little digging while you guys vamp.
I've kind of wiped that right out of my head from the move from Batman v Superman, so I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody else thought that. If it was just me. But he looked very familiar, and to me it was like, isn't that the dude who played Jimmy Olsen in the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice movie? Like,
only Jimmy Olsen, the special edition, I guess. Well, no, it did say at the end of the movie, it did say Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah,
right?
but anyway, while Michael does a little bit of digging, Justin in the comments says he doesn't think so. But yeah, Mark, your thoughts on this episode?
Oh no, this was a great episode, and I haven't read Mike's review yet, but I think. I mean, when Bendis revealed the identity, Superman was around for about 80 years, And you would think at that point that maybe, maybe it's time for him to reveal the identity and all that. But the way Bendis went about it, the whole thing, revealing the identity and what happened afterwards, I don't feel it was earned in that story. On this show, even though it hasn't even been a full 4 seasons, I think it's earned. I mean, would I have rather he didn't? Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people, obviously, who don't love when he reveals his identity, but I feel it's more earned in this show. And especially this episode. I mean, we saw they were agonizing over it. The whole family was talking about it. They tried to hide it. They did everything that they could. and then finally decided, after what happened, it's too much. We just, we can't put this on ourselves, and people are going to be in danger, and all of that, and they came up with that decision, and I felt, if they're going this way, that was earned. They the show kind of earned it where Bendis' story, and I can go on and on about that, but Bendis' story, it wasn't earned. It was just thrown in there so he could reveal the identity, because that's what he does. And supposedly DC was really on board with it, and I'm like, no, it just doesn't. And you know what? For the comics continuity, I don't feel that it really works long term. And I think we've seen that.
Yeah, look, I'm against the reveal of the secret identity, but I think, Michael, you said it best in your review when you said, considering this show is about to end, it's not going to have any lasting ramifications like it does in the comic books, because comic books are ongoing and have been for 85 years. This is a 4-year show and 4 seasons, and that's the end of it after 3 more episodes. So it's not going to be something that we're going to have to hold on to for so much longer. But Mark, as you said, it was earned because Clark didn't want to do this. It wasn't like it was something that he just did on a whim. He was trying to put that genie back in the bottle as much as he could, and he was doing his darndest to try to make everybody in Smallville, second guess their idea that he and Superman were one and the same. But Lex Luthor forced his hand, really, because Lex told Candace's father, and that whether or not you liked that scene or not, I thought it was really well handled in the diner when he fires the gun at that Clark. That was really well done, and the close up on the chest and the costume, and seeing the details in the costume were fantastic. And Clark did everything he could not to have to to reveal his secret identity, but unfortunately, his hand was forced, and I like the way it was handled. It's not just him now; it's his sons. His sons and his wife are like, he brought them in on it and asked them for their opinions as well. So it was a family decision, which, as you said, made the decision feel like it was earned rather than just forced upon him. Michael, what did you find
to answer your question, that is not Michael Cassidy.
Okay.
Who played Jimmy Olsen in BVS. It was another gentleman who apparently was on a show called Rookie Blue for 74 episodes. Michael Cassidy, though, I will say, was on an episode of The OC, and he joined a comic book club with the guy who played Jim Gordon on Gotham, and one of the Shazam people from the Shazam film. And he get into that comic book club by talking about how much he likes Superman. And what did Zack Snyder do to him? He shot him in the face. So one has something to do with the other, but I'm saying one has something to do with the other. But no, that was not him. But looking at both of their pictures on IMDb, I can honestly see why you thought that.
Yeah, well, they look very similar then.
They look very similar. So yeah,
Okay.
you were wrong, but not for lack of trying.
Thank you. Some comments in the comments feed that we've got on YouTube there at the moment. We'll go through some of the John Patrick Van Pelt's questions in a second. Someone said that the footballer telling Jonathan, James Wood says that the footballer telling Jonathan that he ruined his life was a bit much. That's teenagers. That came across as it fit fine for me, because for him at that moment, football was everything. It was his identity. It was who he was, the quarterback. He was the guy that was the star. It was pretty much who he was. And the fact that Jonathan came in and took that from him, or in his eyes, was interesting and felt true. But it was interesting because Jonathan didn't have powers back then. So it was like, dude, I can't exactly say that I didn't have power, because I'm trying to deny that I've got powers now. But so that was really interesting. But Kenneth Crowley Jr. saying, how do you guys feel like the secret identity reveal in Superman and Lois versus a secret identity reveal for Kara Danvers in the Supergirl series? Comparisons, thoughts?
Like this one, they did it in the last episode. And like this one to a certain extent, Kara was struggling with leading two lives and really couldn't juggle it as well as her cousin could, as long as he did, because she's a completely different person. And it's like one of those things where she came to Earth when she was 12, and had to learn to kind of hide herself. So her revealing her identity feels more of I am living my true existence this way. Whereas Clark had a completely different upbringing. So I think it's apples to oranges, but honestly, the feeling is the same for both, ironically.
Fair enough. All right, so some of the questions, John Patrick Van Pelt says, were some of the flashback sequences from this episode taken from the pilot episode from season 1? Not just the pilot, but some of the other episodes. What was that one with a very long title? A convergence of whatever that one was.
Reminiscence in between cataclysmic events.
Oh, yeah.
That one, yeah. So, where it was in the Fleischer-esque costume, that was definitely from a flashback from a previous episode. Is this the most angry Clark has been with Jonathan and Jordan since the story began? I mean, it's all relative, but yeah, he was pretty miffed at them for being so flippant about the secret identity thing. And I think he was under a lot of pressure with in this episode. Clark was about trying to keep a rein on things. What did you think, Mark?
As far as we've seen him and Lois on this series pretty angry at the boys. But this especially, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, this is the big secret. So the fact that they seem to be fast and loose with it, I can understand. Him being pretty angry about that.
Yeah, exactly. Another one. How did Jimmy Olsen find out about Clark's secret identity so fast? A super chat there from John Patrick Van Pelt. Thank you for that. Well, Jimmy is a reporter. I mean, he works at the Daily Planet. So the fact that Clark kept, dodging or not being able to make baseball games week after week after week after week, and that there was a Superman save happening at the same time, kind of made Jimmy suspicious. And then Clark missed a big game when there was no Superman save as a decoy, which made Jimmy think, no, I was wrong. Sorry, Clark. You just don't want to hang out with me. And that was even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of felt bad for Clark on that, where Jimmy was just like, I guess we just weren't meant to be pals. And I'm like, can't you guys do other things? Can't you go grab a beer after work, when everyone's free? I mean, that just it feels like baseball or softball or nothing seems to be kind of a weird hill to die on.
He could have come up with a better excuse as to why he wasn't there, or something.
Exactly. He struggles with
Jimmy, I love you, man. We're friends, I was over here,
He struggles with lying, Clark does. There was a question there by John. Now that he has revealed his identity, what do you think Lex will do about this news? Well, I mean, Lex kind of forced his hand, but I don't think he thought that Superman or Clark was going to deal with it the way he did. I think he thought it would ruin his life a little bit more. And it may still, we don't know the ramifications of, how it's going to play out. But it was interesting that the people of Smallville, geez, they're nice souls, were, at the end, he walks in and they're like, hey, Mr. Kent, so they're kind of playing it cool a little bit. But I was surprised that there weren't like media, at his front door and, just camped around the Kent farm. And I mean, this Earth, whatever Earth it is, must have nice media compared to our Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't in the budget.
I guess.
Though I did find out through X, Jay Jameson, who has written and directed for the series, revealed that when he's coming down the steps at the house, some of the people that are standing there are actual crew members.
Yes.
And it was kind of a way for, like them to get some appreciation, but also them to show the appreciation for Tyler. So a lot of that admiration was very real, which I thought was cool. I thought, oh, that's a neat way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, why get actors to play the parts of TV crew when you've got a TV crew who can do it because it's their job? So I don't know if they got paid extra for it. That'd be interesting to find out. But yeah, that was a nice touch. All right. Any other? I mean, someone mentioned Kyle's superpower being the fact that he's a griller. That he can. And he was going to have to sell his grill. That was an interesting play by Lois, considering Chrissy's superpower as being a reporter in some ways. So very interesting play on words there. All in all, a pretty solid episode. It'll be interesting to see how Lex Luthor does deal with this development. But we only have 3 episodes to go, so it's coming fast.
Yeah,
it really is. It's kind of very sad. I'm not ready to let it go, but I won't have a choice in 3 weeks.
All right. Any other topics from this episode that you wanted to touch on? Any other things that kind of came to mind that you think need expanding on?
no, I did like when they showed the pictures of looked like from Superman the movie and Superman 2, with him saving like Lois from the helicopter, and then the other picture of him, going to the Eiffel Tower. I like those little Easter eggs.
Yeah, and there was a nice little nod to the John Byrne era with his first outing being saving the space plane, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some nice nods there. So we do have a promo for the upcoming episode, which is titled Sharp Dressed Man. It is episode 8 of the final season of Superman and Lois. Have a look.
Lois Lane claims to be a champion for justice. I challenge her to come here and debate me, face to face.
If he thinks I will not confront him on camera,
Lois.
My reputation is at stake.
This needs to work.
After today, the whole world is going to be on your side.
So there you have it. Nice that Clark has the whole thing of him ditching the glasses. It just didn't feel right anymore to be wearing them. So it was interesting that he's not got those on when he's Clark Kent anymore.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting touch. So yeah, Lex wanting to debate Lois on camera, and he's fully shaved now, bald head, bald face.
Yes, he's very smooth. Very,
Yeah.
I wonder if they are going to play the ZZ Top song at like the beginning of the episode when he's getting dressed. Hey, they're the ones that named the episode, and not me.
Yeah, well, it works. No, Nostalgic Pod Blast, I have not seen this episode yet. I only got to see the first 3 before everybody else, or before the general public, I should say. So no, I have not seen these episodes as we go along. I get to watch them on a Tuesday, which is like Monday for you guys here in Australia. So yeah, I'm just watching it like a regular guy, as the title was of the episode. All right.
You said it.
Yes. So that's Superman and Lois, and upcoming promo we just played for you. So we will now turn our attention to the movie side of things, where James Gunn has revealed that the trailer, or the first teaser trailer for the upcoming Superman movie, is sitting on his hard drive, and hackers everywhere are trying to find out where that computer is so that they can get into it and find it, and maybe that will distract them from trying to hack our YouTube channel anymore. But yeah, he was on social media, on the Threads platform, answering a fan question about this. Someone asked him, when is the trailer coming? Because, we're seeing trailers for Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Peacemaker Season 2, and Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. And James Gunn says, it's on my hard drive, but seriously, all 3 of those projects, meaning those movies, come out months before Superman does. So there's no panic as far as the timing is concerned.
Yeah, that was bold to say that it's on his hard drive. I just I, I don't know if somebody would see that as a challenge, but it's entirely possible.
So it is coming, but the full movie is also probably on his computer or somewhere because he says someone asks him, has he watched the full cut of Superman yet? And he says, I've watched it dozens of times. And now, before you get too excited, folks, it's probably not a finished product. It's probably previs, no special effects. The music's probably not over it. So he's got a rough cut, but I wouldn't imagine that it's a final product, anywhere near a final product. Most likely he's got, storyboards in there in some places instead of actual shots, but it's obviously mapped out as a full film. It's just got to have all the, special effects, filtering, score, all that kind of stuff done to it.
Yeah. Well, that was one. Speaking of filtering, Boyce, his costume looked dark in the diner. It looked like the Man of Steel costume.
It has looked a lot darker this season. The costume, so that is an interesting choice that they've gone with a very muted color scheme for the Superman and Lois costume in season 4. Mind the Gap saying, I do find it weird that we haven't seen even a sizzle reel teaser for Superman yet. It is still 8 months
very
away.
Early.
Yeah. So just definitely next month, around in a month's time, you've got, people are saying there's the CCXP, is that, or CCP, whatever that one is, coming up in, I think it's in Spain, Madrid, I think it is. And then you got Super Bowl. Then there's, like we said, the movies that are coming out for the Christmas movies, or Christmas holidays, I should say, for the movies coming out that are big blockbusters, like the Mufasa Lion King movie that people are speculating the trailer might be in front of. There's plenty of opportunities, at the right time. And I think December is the right time for a movie that's coming out in middle of next year.
Absolutely.
So there is that. All right. Now, I mentioned at the top of the episode that there have been actors who have ruined the Superman costume when they've been trying it on in recent times. And we have that revelation from Tom Brittney, who was one of the guys who was auditioning for James Gunn's upcoming Superman film. And he says that he accidentally damaged one of Henry Cavill's original Superman costumes when he was auditioning for this movie, saying that, he was trying to fit into it. It's a tight fit. They've got to sew you into it. And he might have accidentally ripped it.
That's he must be a big guy, because it's not like Henry Cavill wasn't built like a brick outhouse when he was playing that character.
James Gunn piped up, also coming up saying, yeah, Tom messed it up, and then Corin Sweat came in and he was way too tall, so it just got torn to shreds. So I'm guessing it's the height issue. It's not necessarily and before people start freaking out, going, "Oh my God, how can they ruin one of the costumes?" It belongs in a museum, that kind of thing. There are multiples of these things when they are making a movie. They don't just have the one; they have multiples. For these types of incidents, even during filming, that can get damaged. They have different costumes for different lighting, for outside, inside. Flying. They got capes for walking. They got multiples of everything that they do. So it's not like that it's destroyed and it'll never be seen again. But Henry Cavill got into a Christopher Reeve costume when he was auditioning. So they've got these multiples that are around. JP Roach is saying, I guess he was too sexy for his shirt.
That's a 30-year-old reference, but okay.
Yes. So, guessing both Tom Brittney and obviously David Corin Sweat are much taller than Tom Welling, so there was probably the issue of it being, too small, as in the height issue of them stepping into it. So that's no diss on Henry Cavill himself. He was obviously a specimen when he was playing Superman in Man of Steel and the other sequels. But yeah, interesting that he has made that revelation. He might have gone a fair way to why he didn't get the role, but I doubt it. But nevertheless, David Corenswet has been chosen and will be our new Superman moving forward. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We are going to play a few messages and then come back on the flip side, talk about awards won by the Christopher Reeve story documentary. We have some comic book stuff to get through as well. We've got our fan favorite segment. We've got This Week in History. Plenty to get through in the second half hour of tonight's program. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Holy icicles! In their daily pursuit of justice, our superhero characters do battle with the world's most evil villains. Where will the next evil villains come from? Maybe you will create them in Post Superheroes Create a Villain Contest.
Grand prize. 9 kids win a 1-week trip to Hollywood. They'll have breakfast with these superheroes.
And the villain they've created.
Second prize, 1,000 win bicycles.
Millions will enter, and everyone who does gets Superheroes Puffy stickers.
Details on specially marked boxes of Alphabet, Super Sugar Crisp, Honeycomb, and Pebble cereals. You can draw and paint your villain in the picture provided. 3 different pictures.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman and Robin.
3 grand prizes per picture.
The most original villains win.
Holy Hollywood! Post Superheroes Create a Villain Contest. Details on specially marked boxes of Alphabet, Super Sugar Crisp, Honeycomb, and Pebble cereals.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where, as I mentioned, the Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, the documentary film about the life and career of the late great actor, was nominated for 6 Critics' Choice Awards, and it has won all 6. That is amazing.
Yes. Not surprising, but amazing.
So it won for Best Documentary Feature, Best Biographical Documentary, Best Archival Documentary, Best Director, Best Editing, and Best Score. So I imagine it will probably do very well at the upcoming Academy Awards and other awards in the documentary space. And I could not be happier because this is an amazing movie that deserves everything that's coming its way.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right. So well done to everyone involved. Congratulations. And I'm sure more accolades are coming their way. Still on the TV side of things, Tom Welling appeared recently at the Comic-Con Stockholm, where he was asked by Screen Rant about where things were at with the proposed Smallville animated series. And sadly, it's still in a bit of, I guess you could call it the Phantom Zone at the moment, because it's neither here nor there. He says, we want it to work. The honest answer is we've not been able to get Warner Brothers to give us the thumbs up. We need their permission. When asked where they were at with the negotiations, he said, we haven't actually even gotten a response. It's the weirdest thing because it's more of a fan-driven idea. It's not going to be a blockbuster. It's not going to be a financial windfall for any of us. We all like each other. We all like working together, and if we could do it, it'd be fun. But doesn't seem like Warner Brothers are that keen at this point in time, even though like Michael Rosenbaum is really good friends with James Gunn. Doesn't seem to be something that's on their radar.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, yes, Smallville has a fan base, and yes, it's still popular after all these years, but do they want to devote the time and energy to it? And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be good, and I'd love for everyone to get involved with it again, but I don't think it's on their radar.
Yeah, and for anyone who's wondering, that image is just a fan concept. It's nothing official, nothing that's related to this project. Someone's come up with an idea of what the Smallville crew would have looked like if they were, done in an animated style, and so that's just a fan concept. But Mark, this would be interesting to see if they could, get it going and get it off the ground.
Oh, I'd love it. It'd be, we got the comics, season 11 and all that, but that wasn't quite the same. I mean, this would really be pretty much an actual continuation, I think, of the series. With most of the voices, I would believe.
Yeah.
Most. But no, I think this would be a great thing, but right now it doesn't quite look like it's going to come together.
Yeah, and it will definitely, as Kenneth says in the comments, be more like an Elseworlds project that's outside of continuity, which James Gunn is open to, but it doesn't seem that this one is getting any traction at this point in time. All right, and talk about things that were not being made or was never made. Superman Reborn was a proposed 5th movie in the Christopher Reeve franchise. It was a script. There's been different iterations of the script, different versions that had been written but never released. And recently in Los Angeles, just a couple of days ago, or yesterday for you guys actually, live script reading of the first script, the first edition of the script for Superman Reborn was performed in Santa Monica at the Broadwater Theatre on Santa Monica Boulevard, where different people got involved. The script was written by, I think, Mark Jones and Kerry Bates. And it was performed as a live reading at that event on the 12th of November. And I've got some photos from the people. Ilya Salkind was there. He was involved. That was like the poster graphic image that they created. And there is a live reading that folks got to sit in and listen on. They did record it professionally as a video, which will be up on YouTube in the next week or so. But we can share these photos that were emailed to me just today. And you can see that the cast and crew there were all very happy to be there. And sounds like it was a great time, was enjoyed by all.
Yeah, it would have been cool to go. I was just, on the other side of the continent.
Yeah. But this was, I mean, I remember when they were discussing this back when they were originally talking about it. And it sounded kind of, what I did hear about it sounded kind of fun, but of course that, went by the wayside. But I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, so the cast included Jonathan Cahill as Superman Clark Kent, Kenna Rubicek as Lois Lane, Jamal Henderson as Brainiac, and a supporting ensemble of the different characters from across Metropolis, and narrated by Ray Carcillo, who also was a producer with David Kocher, and David was the one who sent me those photos and has been sending me the information, and it will be up on David's YouTube channel. He tells me in the next week or so. So we will let you know as soon as any more information comes about that for anyone who might be interested in checking that out. All right, on the comic book side of things, Michael, you mentioned Absolute Superman #1 at the top of the episode when we were talking in the intro, and it has sold out with the publisher DC going back to printing on a second run of the landmark issue. That is pretty cool. I mean, because I know, comic books seem to, they sell out, left, right, and center these days. But the fact that, the Absolute line is doing so well is fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's well deserved. It was.
Did you say absolutely on purpose, or?
No, I did not. That was an unintentional. That was an unintentional pun. Believe me, if I make a pun and I'm meaning it, I'll hang a lantern on it. But no, the thing about it that I liked was, instead of something like Secret Origin or Earth One or even Man of Steel, the 2013 film, is that it didn't take Superman and give us all the familiar trappings, just different.
Mm-hmm.
This stripped the character down to his essence, went back to the idea of being the champion of the weak and the oppressed, and just completely rethought the concept. Krypton was great. His powers worked differently. It was just, it still felt like Superman, but it wasn't anything recognizable, and I think that's why it works so well.
Yep, well said.
Yeah, as I said last week, I had fallen asleep, not because it was boring, but because I was tired. But I finally did finish it, and I got to say, it was really great. I mean, like Mike said, it took everything away, and yet there's still all those little echoes of the champion of the oppressed. On Krypton, Jor-El and Laura are almost like Mom and Pa Kent are on, that we would normally see. So there's all those little elements there, but it's still something different. I mean, well, I don't know who has or hasn't read it, so I don't want to give too much away, but we still have a few things that you would expect that would be there and that are there, but just in very different capacity. But no, it was a really great story. I mean, I wasn't thrilled with Jason Aaron's Bizarro story that he told, and I'm not as familiar with him as a writer, so I didn't know what to expect going in. But no, I was very happy with it.
Yep, indeed. All right. That will be out in December, the second printing, if you're interested. And talking about second printings, DC has gone back to print on every DC Compact Comics title that they released in 2024 and have announced 15 new DC Compact Comics coming out in 2025, including, here's a little promo that they put together for, these are the upcoming ones: Kingdom Come, Deceased, DC The New Frontier are amongst the 15 new ones. And these are little compact comics that you can kind of, as they're smaller prints. Here's a little bit of a kind of a animated little video that they show about how small they are, and you can just slip them in your bag and take them with you anywhere. And they are collected editions of some of the more popular titles that they've released over time, including, of course, Watchmen and some of those others, Batman Hush and what have you. So All-Star Superman being amongst those that were printed in 2024. So, yep, Compact Comics doing well for DC. So they're coming with more in 2025. All right, let's get into let's do the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, Michael, what was our fan favorite question from last week?
What is your favorite Daily Planet statue, figurine, or action figure? And JP Rocha wrote in, I like this statue's design featuring Superman flying with Lois above the Daily Planet. This DC collectible designer series statue is inspired by Gary Frank's art. Ironically, one of the most recognizable feature of Gary Frank's art is his faces, and neither one of these faces are Frankian. I would go further to say that the Superman sculpt actually scares me, and it looks like it scares Lois too.
Yeah. Her hair looks like a Medusa there. But nice Daily Planet. Very nice.
And David Rustage wrote, "This is my only statue incorporating a part of the newspaper building as a base, so it's my favorite by default."
Very nice, David. And it's a great one. And it's very similar to the one we just saw from JP in that it's Superman and Lois, flying above the globe. But this one is a much better face sculpt on both Lois and Superman. I absolutely love this statue.
Yes.
Don't have it in my collection, but would love to add it. But thank you, David. That is an awesome statue. Thank you. One I do have in my collection is, with the Daily Planet involved, is this one of Superman flying over the Daily Planet, and so I've took a photo of that to share here in this episode. Michael, you have one handy.
Yeah, this is something my wife got me years ago, and if you hit a, I'm gonna back off because it's about to do something.
Yes, I've got that one too. It's really cool, but yeah, that can be dangerous.
Yeah, I don't want to get. I'm sure you all would like to see me get hit in the face with it because that's good. That's good video. But it's Superman, Crypto, Streaky, and Supergirl flying around the Daily Planet building.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And
it's like a retro toy.
So she got me that. God, that had to be well over 20 years ago at this point. But we found it late last year when we were packing some stuff up, and I put it on my TV over here, and I was just like, hey, I actually got something out that I can show. So that's nice.
Very cool. Excellent. Well, Mark, what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
A new fan favorite question is, what is your favorite Christopher Reeve Superman statue, figurine, or action figure?
Yes, it's Christopher Reeve's turn. You've got there's been a few of late, some new ones. But if you've got a Christopher Reeve figurine, statue, action figure that you want to show off, info@supermanhomepage.com is the email address to send your responses to. We will feature any of those when we return to this segment next week. Mind the Gap is asking, are there any Daily Planet snow globes? There are some Superman snow globes. I don't know if they have the Daily Planet in them. Just bear with me. Do you have one, Michael?
No, I packed it up, unfortunately. The only one that I have, the snow globe, is the one that's shaped like his ship. It looks like the ship from the Byrne revamp. And it's got the Fortress of Solitude, basically. And it's something my wife gave me on our first or second Valentine's Day. But I don't think the Daily Planet has been in a snow globe. It could be. I'm willing to be wrong. In all honesty, it must be really weird for people watching on Instagram right now because they hear voices and there's nobody on the screen.
They don't see anything.
Sadly, no.
There he is.
I couldn't find one. I get my earpiece in. The only one I could find was, I don't know what you were saying, Michael, because I took my earpiece out, was a snow globe that's got like the Justice League around the Superman's on the base. It's Green Lantern, and he's got a green globe, and inside the green globe of the snow globe is Batman, the Flash, and I think it's Wonder Woman. That's a weird one because the actual snow globe is what Green Lantern is making out with his ring. So yeah, I couldn't find a Daily Planet one.
Yeah, the one that I was talking about was the one that was shaped like the ship from the Byrne revamp. That had that as like the base. So
okay, yes.
That was pretty cool.
There you go. Thank you for that question, Mind the Gap. All right, so that's the fan favorite question for this week. Now we jump into This Week in History. Here we go for Michael. Where is my little button? Why am I? Oh, there it is.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Not a whole lot this week, in all honesty. We jumped to 1964 with Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 54, the monster that loved Lois Lane. I think this is a pretty accurate representation of how I asked my wife out. So I'm pretty happy, without Superman in the background, obviously. So I'll go with that.
Great likeness.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I shave every week before the show, but like by the next, I'm like Tyler Heckley. By the next day, I've got the purple hair back. Jumping 30 years ahead to 1994, we have Superboy number 11. As we get deeper into the post-Zero Hour era of the series, and Superman: The Man of Steel number 40, which is part more of the Dead Again storyline. As we get closer and closer to that resolution. In 2004, we've got Action Comics number 821, still well into the Chuck Dixon run. Art was great. Story was okay. We also have Identity Crisis number 6, as Batman has apparently learned all of the plans that DC has for the next couple of years and is not taking it well. Then you have Smallville number 11, which was that weird mix of comic book stories and interviews and such, and a dreamy picture of Tom Welling on the cover. Then we go to 2014, where we have Batman number 36.
I grabbed the wrong one.
But that's okay. It has Superman on the cover. There's also Earth 2 World's End number 6. Smallville Chaos number 4. Which is continuing the season. Season 11 continues. It's right there on the cover. And World's Finest number 28. This was part of the end of that series where they told the origin of the New 52 version, Earth 2 of Superman and Batman. And I've always meant to read it because it looks really good, and it's written by Paul Levitz. But this one obviously is where Wonder Woman enters the chat. In the real world, on November 11th, Callista Flockhart, who played Cat Grant on Supergirl, was born in 1964. On November 12th, Steve's friend Bob Holliday, and former Superman from the Broadway show, was born in 1932. November 14th, Elliot S. Maggin, who has written many Superman stories and has been a guest on the previous version of the show, was born in 1950. And November 16th, Harry Lennox, who was General Swanwick and apparently the Martian Manhunter who sat there and watched Metropolis burn and did nothing about it. He was born in 1964, though I don't blame him. That was all on the script. And that is This Week in History.
Very good. Thank you for that, Michael. Interesting. Elliot S. Maggin has a new book. I think we've featured it briefly on this show, or mentioned it definitely on the Superman homepage. Lex Luthor on the cover there. We'll have to get... I've reached out to Elliot to see if we can get him back on the show to promote his new novel. We'll chat to him about that if we can get him on the show. I think it's just been released this month.
He's one of my absolute personal favorite Superman writers.
So we'll just don't go all gooey on us, Mark, when we do get him on, and tongue tied and
shucks.
Just
he's dreamy.
Just fanboy out. All right, so thank you, Michael, for This Week in History. As we get towards the end of tonight's episode, a few other things to look at. We kind of mentioned this one, I think, briefly last week, but is now available for pre-order, and that is the Superman 78 action figure, 7-inch scale action figure with comic. This is now available for pre-order. It's the DC Page Punchers Wave 7 Superman 78 7-inch scale action figure with comic, obviously in the likeness of the Superman 78 comic book series, which is in the Christopher Reeve universe. So this comic action figure comes with 8 different hands. It's got a display base, a display card. It's got the S on the back of the cape for those who freak out about that. And comes in, display packaging. And there you have it. So you can pre-order that from the Superman homepage website right now, which is a great way to support the website because at no extra cost to you. When you're buying the figure, we get a kickback. So it's a great way to support the Superman homepage. Buy your merchandise on our website. DC have also announced a DC Heroes United interactive streaming series and mobile game, which will debut later this year. It's licensed by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment on behalf of DC, and it features an all-new storyline with weekly decisions that you, the audience, will make to impact the future of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the crew. Have a look at this trailer for DC Heroes United.
That's the Tower of Fate, here, in this dimension.
I can't drag anyone else into this world.
We don't have time for half measures. Everything is at stake. No pressure.
This tower's arrival has drawn out new heroes. Or created them. Perhaps a bit of both.
All my life, I suspected these myths really existed.
So that's just a bit of the trailer there. You can watch the full thing at our website. It's available on the App Store and Google Play and will be launched November 20th. Pre-registration is now available. So yeah, you get to decide on how things continue. It's a game and kind of comic storyline at the same time. So something to look forward to, something a little bit different from DC.
Yeah, that is very different. I don't mean that as that sounded like I was taking a shot at it. I wasn't. It just looks very different.
Yeah, completely different animated style, new feature, interactive. And speaking of interactive, so is the new Superman homepage audio drama that uses new technology to bring back old voices. Here is a bit of a promo for the Metropolis Code audio drama. Chapter 1 is out now. Chapter 2 will be out on Friday. You get to decide on what happens next.
Step into the bustling streets and towering skyscrapers of Metropolis in Superman the Metropolis Code, a thrilling audio drama that brings iconic heroes and villains to life through sound. Join intrepid reporters Lois Lane and Clark Kent as they dive into a sinister plot brewing at the heart of their city. Lex Luthor, the brilliant and dangerous mastermind, has unleashed a powerful artificial intelligence with the potential to control every vital system in Metropolis, from traffic lights to hospital generators. Will Lois and Clark uncover Luthor's plan before it's too late, or will Metropolis become a city under his command? Tune in for suspense, intrigue, and choices that put you, the listener, at the helm of the adventure.
There you have it. Superman homepage's own audio drama, The Metropolis Code. Definitely something you want to check out. And it's got the voices of some of the old radio series in there, brought back to life by modern technology. So a labor of love that I put a bit of time into, and good to see that some people are really enjoying it. So make sure you pass the word out there about this audio drama.
Yes. It's very exciting. You're doing a great job with it.
Thank you very much. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Want to thank everyone for joining us for this past hour for Superman Homepage Live. Thank you for your company, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We really appreciate you spending this hour with us. Thank you to my co-hosts, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax. Thank you, gentlemen.
Pleasure as always, guys.
And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And don't forget, we will all be back. Oh, sorry, no, Michael won't be back next week, but Mark and I will be back next week at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live on Wednesday, November 20th. 7:30 Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself, Michael Bailey, Mark Lax. Thank you for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.